Welcome back, everyone, to It's Last Call. Last Call with the alcohol only on. It is the Last Call YouTube show. And joining me here in the studio or in his studio, he once again is going to try to make it undefeated record, now go to 6-0, and he has a tall task in front of Tyree Fortune. But, well, a lot of people say he is possibly one of the future of a light heavyweight division. And can be once again the undefeated pride and joy of Colorado from Genesis Training and Elevation Fight Team. I give you Grant Neal. Grant, it's you versus Tyree Fortune. It's battling undefeated. How excited
Yeah,
are you about this? About getting a fight which there's going to be a lot of people watching this, and it's a fight where you get on paper this should be a challenge.
I'm extremely excited. Like I always say, the opponent in front of me is the best in the world and it's the hardest opponent. So I'm super excited to go in. It doesn't matter who it is, who the record is. I have one goal, and it's to beat the person in front of me. So I'm excited about it.
Tyree Fortune, he is one of those wrestlers who was recruited early, has the pedigree. He's not his brother or as big, or I'd say as dynamic as an MMA fighter, but he's good. So break it down for us. What does he bring to the table? Like when you look at and see everything here, what is it about Tyree Fortune that makes him dangerous in the cage?
Um, I I feel that he is he's really unorthodox. It's a lot of people have a tough time figuring him out. But I know that I have the tools and the capability to utilize what I have in order to give him some trouble.
It's easy because a lot of people say, "Oh, if I like this, you work on wrestling. You work on wrestling." You said that he's unorthodox. So what makes is it striking? Is it the way he sets it up? Is it the way he attacks with his wrestling? Like, what is it about the style that's just basically unorthodox?
I mean, he's a lot of times he'll lull his opponent to sleep, and get his opponent into a comfortable mindset, and then he'll explode and exploit that comfortability that he kind of set up and that pace. And so he'll change the pace. And I think the ultimate thing, a key to victory, is not allowing him to dictate the pace of the fight. And I know with all of his wins, he's been the one dictating the pace. And I feel that his opponents, unfortunately, had to pay the price for that. But I'm not going to be the one to allow him to dictate the pace.
How tough is it fighting wrestlers in terms of you're a striker, you like to use kicks, punches, you enjoy setting up a guy using all the knees. With a wrestler, there's always the worry of he takes me down. It becomes basically some ground and pound, or I basically lay and pray, and you're basically carrying a guy. How tough is it figuring out when to throw kicks, when to throw punches, especially for guys who they just want to catch that kick, take you down, and basically then control the round or put you in a world of hurt?
Yeah, so my background is wrestling. So I have a really high pedigree in wrestling, and I wrestle with some of the best people in the world, and I have wrestled and beat guys that are going to the Olympics. So and that was when I was competing in wrestling in high school. So I understand a very high level of wrestling, and I understand wrestling for MMA as well very well. So that being said, I'm not, and I'm wrestling every day. So a lot of people can be wrestlers, but then they get into MMA, and then it's a lot more fun to throw kicks and punches than it is to wrestle. But I'm one of those guys that I implement wrestling in every facet of my training because I know it's the hardest thing to do. And I'm excited about what I have to bring to the table from my wrestling standpoint, and implementing my game plan. And ultimately that sets up the hands and all the flash that you see on the feet that I have. It's all set up because people are worried about my wrestling.
As you said, on paper, if you're looking at just pure wrestling, he should win. He's a national champion, Division II. You know, competed in Summer Olympics. U.S. qualifications. He has the
So
best
I think you're mixing
pure
up
wrestling.
him and his brother.
Yep.
His brother was a Division II national champion, Terrell.
No, they
I'm not
both
sure
were.
if Tyree's credential. Okay.
But as you said, MMA wrestling is a lot different, and I know, and most fans are going, "Wrestling is wrestling. Well, how is it different?" So explain that, because you're, a lot of people who say this, you are a good to very excellent MMA wrestler. What's the difference? Like, what's the difference between just a damn great wrestler and an MMA wrestler?
Strikes. To be honest, there's a lot of different things that you have to set up when you're wrestling. You can't just dive in on an ankle pick and expect to win a fight. And the way that you wrestle as well. So the style of wrestling that I had going through has been extremely dynamic, and has translated really well to MMA. So depending on the style of wrestling that you implement, I feel that it can really dictate your success in the sport.
We're gonna go back to this in a bit, but take us back to your last fight. Once again, a very impressive win, this time by finish. What went right? What went wrong, if anything? And when did you feel that you had it? Like, when did you realize, okay, I've softened him up a bit. I can now start throwing. As you said, the kicks, the punches. When did you realize that, okay, that
Um,
Maurice Jackson was there to be choked out?
I feel that I really felt within the first exchange that I came out there, and there's no filler face. I immediately rushed him, and I wanted to kind of feel what he was doing. I didn't want to give him any opportunity to do anything tricky, because I mean, Maurice Jackson, he's been in there with some of the best guys in the sport, and he's what I think his last fight was Melvin Gillard, and he beat Melvin Gillard by TKO. So I know that he had some skill. So I just wanted to put the pressure on him, and him claiming that he was a wrestler as well, and wrestled at a collegiate level. I really wanted to show him that there's a difference, and there's levels to it. And so I kind of felt it within the first exchange. And after that, it was just the excitement and controlling that excitement, and setting up the choke. And I feel now, looking back on it, there's obviously things that you nitpick, and things that you feel that you could have done better. But ultimately, I did what I needed to do, and that was get the win. And that's always my goal. It's not to it doesn't have to be as pretty. It doesn't have to be as flashy, but my ultimate goal is to win. And by continuing to do that, that's going to set you up to be the best in the world.
With that, I know everything going on here, and as I said, we're trying to figure out with the vision and trying to figure out what's going on here with, as because all of a sudden Yoel Romero, pulled out. Was there ever a point that you walked up to Scott and say, "Look, put me in there. I'll fight Rampage right now. I don't give a rat's ass. Let's go. Let's do this whole thing." Did you ever try to throw your name in there? Or was that one of those things where even your manager's like, we need some more time. You need some more
So,
season.
I'm a fighter, Chris, and that's funny that you asked that question. I was definitely brought that that option, and the way that I see it is, I want to fight whoever and whenever at any time. But that's why I have people helping me that have been there and done that, helping me in my career. So that choice, because if Mr. Coker, if Mr. Coker or any of the matchmakers came, Mike Hogan came to me and said, "Hey, we want you for this fight," there's no hesitation in my heart that I'm not going to do that. But is that the correct trajectory for my career? Who's to say it isn't? Who's to say it is? But I have people that have been there and done that to kind of help me out with those decisions. And ultimately, I'm a fighter, so I'm here to fight. So you're coming to me, I'm saying yes. And so that's what we were excited about, that, and potentially flying out. It would have been today. And so I was excited about that, but another opponent ended up stepping in. So I didn't have that opportunity, but there's definitely talks.
Because when I saw that happen, I'm guessing, I'm thinking, man, there's a lot of guys who are pissed off about that, because whether it's yourself, whether it's Julius Anglicus, you guys are all looking for the big break. So how tough is it sometimes trusting your team when you're looking, going, wait a minute here, this Jose Augusto guy, I'm better than him. I can. Anthony Johnson hasn't fought in 2 years. Give me, this is perfect. I could go out there, knock his ass out in the second round, advance to the tournament. I then take on a small, Nimkov for the title. This is perfect. Let's just do this here. How tough is
Yeah,
that trusting the team when in your mind you're already going, oh, this is one more step towards the championship. Then they win the whole thing, $1 million. Let's do this, baby. Me versus Rumble. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely those emotions, but the biggest thing that you have to do, especially in a sport like this, is you have to be in control of your emotions, because emotions are easily manipulated. Um, and whether that's a good thing or whether that's a bad thing, that's just a fact. And so, number one, you got to control your emotions, and you got to understand where you're at. And number two, you got to understand the trajectory that you're on and what your goals are. My goal isn't to just be in a big money fight and skip the line and get that big ticket. My goal is to be the best in the world. And is this fight going to be a stone on my path that's going to put me in to be the best in the world? Or is it going to be just a money fight and a tough fight and a place that I don't know what the outcome's going to be or anything like that. So there's things that you have to think about. And right now we've been taking all the right steps. And so that gives me a lot of confidence in my team and the people that I surround myself with, is because everything that we have done has been on the right path. And I've had a lot of great success, and I've been around a lot of teammates that have had great success, whether that's winning world titles or contending in world titles or really big matches. So I just listen, and I'm just a sponge. I'm young in this game. This is my coming up on in 3 months. This would be my 4th year doing MMA in total. So I'm still at the genesis phase of my career. So I want to do all the right things.
So how do you balance it then? Because as you said, you have two gyms. So you go to your regular gym, which is Genesis, and then you have Elevation Fight Team. We've seen it before. Too many chefs, not enough cooks. Too many chiefs, not enough Indians. How do you balance it so that coaches aren't tripping over themselves, or that one coach is getting pissed because the other coach is saying something different? How does it work that everybody's sort of on the same sort of symmetry with you in terms of moving you, training you, and instructing you?
So that's actually a great question. I'm glad you asked it. So my head coach is Jacob Ramos, and he's a well distinguished coach and has a lot of boxing world champions, and even competed for a lot of MMA titles with him and Trevor Whitman. And so Coach Jake and Trevor Whitman together are best friends, and they kind of built their system together. So that's my head striking coach. And my head jiu-jitsu coach is Professor Peter Straub, who is also a coach over with Elevation Fight Team as well. And having a skill set striking coach and a skill set MMA coach, but both coaches understand both facets of the game and have worked together and can feed off of each other. It's awesome. And I think the cross training that we do is pretty unbelievable, because both coaches are at each one of my sessions, so everybody's on the same page. So if I'm sparring at Elevation, Coach Jake is at Elevation with me, or if I'm sparring at Genesis, Coach Peter Straub is at Genesis with me. And so I get to hear both. It's really rare that you get to hear both of your corners coaching you through just different positions and understanding what you're listening to and understanding the spots. And that makes for a really well communicated corner. And I think that is really important, especially at this level in the fight game.
Before we let you go, I got to ask, have you gotten the Bass Pro sponsorship yet? You said you wanted it, you were trying to negotiate it. Is it happening? Will Bass Pro Shop be sponsoring you?
I think we definitely have we're on the radar, and they definitely know about me, and I'm warmed up, and we're gonna start off with just looking at getting them on board on Team Neal as far as a product sponsorship. And I think that they want to see me catch another big one before they fully immerse themselves in what I have to offer, which I'm excited for. That's what they're all about. They're a hard-nosed blue-collar company, and they don't believe in handouts, and which is fine with me. But I'm going to prove to them that, hey, there's no better MMA athlete that you should sponsor that's going to represent your company and your values more. And I think I bring a face to Bass Pro that offers a pretty lucrative opportunity for them to branch out into maybe a different facet that they haven't hit yet, whether that's MMA community or the Black community itself. And it's I think it's something that I'm really passionate about. I love the outdoors, and I love hunting and fishing, and just being in nature. That's my happy place. I do it all when I'm not fighting. Hunting, fishing, or snowboarding. So it's that's just who I am as a person. So I couldn't think of any other company that I would love to represent. And I'm a firm believer in representing things that hold your value. So yeah, I think that I am a perfect person for them, and I think that they're coming on board as well, and I think they're starting to see it. So first one was just to make a little noise. Now that I made some noise, I'm gonna go and be blue collar and let them know that, give them no other option.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we are proud to have on the show. I give you the undefeated, real mixed martial arts fighter now. I give you Grant
Yes.
Neal. Grant, before I let you go, where can the fans check you out at? Where is the Twitter page, Instagram, the website, and also who else is going to be sponsoring you for this fight coming up?
Yeah, so to find all my sponsors, the easiest way is actually to either go to grantneal.com, and I have a link to all the sponsors that work with me in my camp. And then I also readily post all my sponsors and things that I work with in camp via my Instagram page, which is Grant Neal 34. And I also am pretty active on Twitter as well, which is Grant Neal at Grant Neal on Twitter. So those two pages, and then the Grant Neal website, that's just how you get insight and access to all the things of Team Neal. And I'd love to have everybody a part of it, and go ahead and follow and be ready for some fireworks May 21st.
Grant Neal, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we are proud to have him on the show. He'll be fighting once again May 21st, only on Showtime. Presents Bellator 260. Check your time and local listen for details. We come back, but we got a lot more going on. Only on It Is Last Call. Last Call with the alcohol. Only on the Last Call YouTube channel.